Sean is a master. He teaches. It's not just about sharing the formula with you. It's about making sure that we learn.
I went from $100,000 in debt from law school to having no money and starting my own law firm on my credit card to selling it 4 years later.
Sean and I, we co-created massive victories in 2 unwinnable jury trials, which are recognized nationally now as top 100 jury verdicts.
To be even on the same track with you, who I respect and admire and love with all my heart.
Never again submit. You're not better and you're not less than any human on earth.
When you shared with us about the unblinded process and the mastery sales training, I just went, wow.
Sean will gain proximity to the most influential and powerful people. He will find out how he can grow their business, how he can help them personally. But the third thing that he does is the most important. Sean serves without an expectation of getting anything in return.
You have very, very high-performing colleagues.
22 years ago, you transformed my life as you did all these people's lives over the course of time. I couldn't be more grateful. Let's hear from Tony Robbins.
I don't see him as a lawyer, and I don't see him as a blind person. Someone who has subjugated his ego, who has taught me what serving really looks like.
You have this incredible ability to just have unconditional love for everyone, and that is just an incredible gift.
The moment you have been waiting for.
The American Blind Association is the first new face and voice of that association since Helen Keller.
Formula for formulas, which is exactly what I've learned from Sean. It's a language-based predictable model. We will have over 300 new sales meetings this month.
This superpower in the world that is attainable for you is the ability to influence people. If you believe that, say yes. If you believe that, say yes.
Do you think that worked?
I do think it works.
I do think that works. It's Dr. Evka. We're on location from Nation, Arizona. Dr. Evka, we're hanging out with Tony Robbins for the next 3 days, who's I think a dear friend of Dr. Evka's.
Yes.
And like, Tony, hang on one sec. Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence is happening. Who's here?
Sean, we definitely have some heart-centered individuals here for the Trailblazers in Healthcare Heart of Influence with Dr. Evka. And first up from Columbia, Maryland, 2 residences, one in public health and prevention medicine, now psychiatrics for 12 years, working in the group practice focus on treatment resistance disorders, OCD in particular. You definitely don't have OCD, that's for sure. Tremendously proud of seeing massive growth of patients over time, like younger patients that went to med school themselves. Let's welcome to the show, Dr. Helen Bellet.
Hello.
Oh, Dr. Helen, the crowd doesn't go wild.
Our crowd.
Any? Okay. So is it, how should we refer to, is it Dr. Helen? How shall we?
Dr. Helen's good.
Excellent,
Yep.
Dr. Helen. Here's what we're doing. Do you know Plato, Dr. Helen? It's a friend of Dr. Evka's, the Greek philosopher, and Bella's as well. He said, play a game with me, Dr. Helen, for an hour, and we will learn more about each other than if we speak for a year. So this Heart of Influence is all about that game. Just get to know each other. We could have a cup of coffee. We could be sitting in Capitol Grill private room. Heck, we could be sitting on the deck of the Phoenician, which I'll have a fun fact about in a little bit. But instead, we're in the virtual space. Super quick, get to know each other, spend an hour. And Dr. Helen, we kick this off asking for a fun fact. A fun fact could be a proud moment, an interesting moment, shocking moment, surprising moment, anything, Dr. Helen, that will make us say, Dr. Helen, no way. So please, Dr. Helen, what is your headline fun fact?
Okay, so my fun fact is I was the only girl on our high school wrestling team.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I got a fun fact for you later.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Dr. Helen, that is really awesome. Congratulations. I'm clear on what that means. As Bella will attempt to, in some way, dilute, distort, and destroy. I was a part of multiple state championship wrestling teams in high school. So congratulations. That's an extraordinary achievement. Thank you for sharing it. And warm welcome, Dr. Helen, to Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence.
Thank you.
Oh, Dr. Helen.
Joining Dr. Helen from Melbourne, Australia.
That's not close.
That's not close.
Yeah.
Helping women enhance their time management careers and goals, and advocate for making sure they can have it all. teaches to refrain from sabotaging the future by maintaining a growth and positive mindset. An ambitious entrepreneur, along with her husband, scaling and growing their businesses as powerful professionals. Let's welcome to the show, Anne Ryan.
And with the sunglasses, I recommend pigmentosa, so I am blind, so I will take my sunglasses on and off to keep resetting the pain in my eyes from being here outside. All good. But Anne, warm welcome, Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence, and please, your fun fact.
Thank you for having me. My fun fact is that I hitchhiked around New Zealand and was picked up by a pilot who flew me on a private plane from the North Island to the South Island.
Whoa. That's like one of those books you read at night or something.
Yeah.
I've heard stories like that.
Yes.
And congratulations on that. Warm welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Bella Reed, who's joining Anne, her pilot in the private jet across New Zealand. Who's up?
Joining them on this adventure from Lawrenceville, Georgia, a mental health advocate, faith-driven leader, and podcast host dedicated to destigmatizing mental health in the faith community. 26 years in mental health and master's degree in counseling, brings expertise and compassion to her work. A bilingual, full content creator on a mission to bridge the gap between faith and well-being. Let's welcome to the show, Nettie Matos.
Nettie, warm welcome to Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence, and please, your fun fact.
Thank you. My fun fact, I used to play forward as in high school in basketball. I used to play basketball when I was in high school.
And wrestling.
Basketball in high school.
Yeah. I get
Can you
it.
hear
And
me?
wrestling and basketball. Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. No, we're saying wrestling and basketball because we had
Yes.
wrestling from Dr. Evka, and we have
But I
basketball.
can't make a single ball right now.
Because were big sports in conflict in high school because people had to choose. They were both winter high school sports, so people had to choose between wrestling and basketball. So it's super cool that we have Nettie with basketball, we have Dr. Helen in wrestling, and I think what we should do is we should have them wrestle and then shoot free throws to see who the top woman athlete of the show is. Nettie,
Lord have
how
mercy.
you up for?
I'm sorry?
Are you up for this? Are you up for having a
Hey,
WWE?
I can try.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Because Bella's going to tell you lies later, so it's coming. But Bella, bring it back to you.
Okay.
And I didn't know that basketball was like a winter sport, but now that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had no idea that why basketball started later than all the other sports, but now I get it. So thank you for that insightful information at 47 years old. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And sitting next to Natty also from Lawrenceville, Georgia, earned a bachelor's degree in behavioral health, with honors in her 50s, completing a 4-year program in just 3 years, 26 years as a church secretary, on a new adventure as a podcast co-host, passionate about mental health awareness, a devoted wife of 40 years, mother of 2, grandmother of 5, blending wisdom, faith, and family into everything she does. Let's welcome to the show, Vita Green.
Warm welcome. It's Vita.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vita, for being here today. And please, your fun fact.
Your fun fact.
My fun fact. Okay. When my daughter was a senior in high school, I had a talk with God, and I told him, if you love me like you say you do, you won't send me any more girls. So I am the proud grandmother of 5 grandsons.
Wow.
Nice.
Vita,
Yes.
that is a super cool fun fact that
Not
will
a girl
make-
in the bunch.
And I will plead fifth. Yes.
Yes.
So Bella, read back to you.
That is an awesome fun fact.
And by the way, I'm a father of 3 daughters, 1 son, 3 daughters. And,
They send them all to you.
Yes, they did.
and they're every bit as easy as my son.
Yes. Next up from Little Rock, Arkansas, board certified primary care doctor, speaker, educator, passionate I'm an anti-bullying advocate and runs ministry with her husband. Founded an organization raising awareness and bullying and mental health strategies for physicians, for struggling physicians, especially during the medical training, stemming from personal experience, on a mission to educate, inspire, and drive meaningful change in the medical field. Let's welcome to the show, Dr. Allie Alamir.
Shall we refer to you in what way, doctor, please?
Dr. Allie is fine, absolutely fine with me.
Thank you, Dr. Allie. Warm welcome to Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence. And please, your fun fact.
Oh, so my fun fact is I can cook almost anything. And my family and friends say I'm a really good cook. At some point in time, when I was transitioning from Nigeria to the United States, I almost thought of opening a food truck. But my husband stopped me. But I cannot bake a cookie to save my life.
Wow. I am in the same boat as Dr. Allie. I can cook, but I can't bake at all. That is super fun.
Well, I was super good at making Pillsbury cookies. So I'm going to go with that. So thank you so much. Warm welcome, Dr. Allie Bella.
Welcome, Dr. Allie. And let's go to Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
Certified end of life doula, public speaker, and educator, a substitute teacher for 20 years, learning how to speak to various rooms and groups of people, honoring her mother and her own experience as a cancer survivor, understands how to face, navigate, and guide others through their own journeys as powerfully and impactfully as possible. Let's welcome to the show, Janice Lombardo.
Welcome to Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence. And please, your fun fact.
Well, thank you again for having me. I have been singing almost all of my life. And when I was in high school, I participated in 4 years worth of different contests. And I can say as a first soprano during that point in my life, I have 16 medals to show for all of the competitions that I won and participated in.
Wow. That's awesome.
Impressive. That is awesome. And the only sopranos I know were Tony and the people from down the road in Jersey. I'm super proud and grateful for your medals and all the things. Bella, we have amazing singers.
We do have amazing singers, for sure. And I think singing along with this crazy crew might be Dr. Evka on the mic, coming from Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. Growing up in the projects, helping her mom clean houses, recognized as as an optimal need in life, undergraduate in engineering and MD and PhD with a master's in public health, now 17 years as a physician, writing books that have shifted and changed the entire paradigm in practices and specialties, saving countless lives and serving numerous volunteer projects as well. Let's welcome to her show, Dr. Evka Sesnick.
Dr. Evka, warm welcome, much gratitude. This is a woman with such an inspiring story of coming to this country, working her way through, achieving through unbelievable resiliency and perseverance. So Dr. Evka, thank you. And please, on your Heart of Influence, your fun fact.
Thank you very much. I brought everyone together because you all have struggles with grief and you've all undergone tremendous challenges in your life, and you're here today to make the world a better place, partly because of your grief. And one of the ways that you can deal with grief, because we're talking about like exercise here, is guess who has a black belt in Taekwondo?
Ooh.
Me! I'm betting it's Dr. Evka.
You do, Dr. Evka? Did you get that last week?
Oh. I'm feeling some aggression recently.
And the way Dr. Evka rolls, she would have gotten angry on Tuesday, and she would have found a way to get a black belt in Taekwondo by Friday.
Yes.
So that is, and I'm sure that's not what happened. But what year did you get your black belt, Dr. Evka?
At this point, let the mystery begin.
Amazing. Dr. Efka, let's do the thing.
Thank you. I'm
shall
so
we?
excited. Thank you.
Yes. So let's introduce this woman seated to my left, who the only relationship I think she has with grief is that grief she gives me. Who started her career influence as an 8-year-old selling crafts on her parents' front lawn. She progressed to being a 7-figure business generator in the space of network and marketing by the age of 19 years old. Like, that doesn't happen. In a male-dominated industry at the age of 24, and then 25 and 26, she became a 3-time three-peater in the space of #1 business broker in the state of Nevada. Like Michael Jordan, he won 3 straight championships. Pat Mahomes, quarterback of the Chiefs, tried to, but didn't. She won 3 in a row. Beat all the dudes in this male-dominated industry because she was the youngest person, male or female, ever to be Nevada's #1 business broker. She then began to train Fortune 500 companies in various aspects of leadership and communication influence, as well as entrepreneurs. And in fact, in 2019, every sales team she worked with doubled their sales. Skier, surfer, scuba diver, adventurer. Maybe she learned it from a blind man, me, or maybe she learned it on YouTube. Depends on the stock of the blind man. It feels up right now. It may drop within the hour. We'll see. She is also a philanthropist that has raised $10 million for charity with the Unblinded team over the past couple of years. 2-time, about to be 3-time published author who in 2023 publicly battled and defeated cancer. Let's welcome to Dr. Efka's Heart of Influence, the woman who in her 1500th plus episode put the heart in the heart of influence, Bella Burita. It's Bella Burita, please, your fun fact.
Well, my fun fact, Dr. Efka, is Sean.
I'm sorry, we're cutting out. We're cutting out.
Thank God you brought all of these people, that have dealt with grief, because I'm certainly this fun fact is going to give Sean some grief, and he's going to need some counseling after this, because as the wrestling champion he is, he has been beat at wrestling by one woman, and that one woman is me, who has out-wrestled Sean Callagy on Necker Island, and that is my fun fact for today.
Yes.
Do you need some grief counseling now?
I do, because this was on Richard Branson's Necker Island, and the truth is that Bella is telling the truth. But if you
all right, so let me introduce my co-host, the man that Tony Robbins said, there's no one who leaves, because he wants to tell you all this other nonsense. It doesn't really matter to discredit the fact that I actually won. So we're gonna go with the fun. The man that Tony Robbins said, and it leads with heart and integrity. So we got to leave it there, because it's heart and integrity, Sean Callagy. Then in fact, he beats world champions like Becky at body surfing competitions. He is only one of 2 attorneys who win 2 top 100 national jury verdicts between 2014 and 2016, and the only one that's blind out of 1.2 million attorneys. In fact, the state of New Jersey actually named him one of New Jersey's most influential attorneys. He has spoken on stages such as Disney, T-Mobile, Tony Robbins 18 times. And when he's not busy flying around speaking on stages, he's an incredible philanthropist that raised nearly $10 million for refugees in Ukraine. Let's welcome my co-host, Mr. Sean Callagy. Otherwise known as the wrestler loser to Bella.
Yes.
Over to you.
So my fun fact is that we went to Necker Island.
I think it's cutting out. Look, we're running out of time. I don't think we have time for your fun facts.
Yes, and we were on a trampoline, one of those things in the water that plummets into the center, caves into the center as you're there. And so Bella was being mouthy, like she's being right now, and said I couldn't beat her wrestling. So I was going to throw her into the ocean. And as I'm climbing up, I keep sliding back down, because the weight of me picking her up is putting the both of us down into the center, and we're working at this massive angle going upward. So I start
Does this sound like excuses to you? Are you
so
hearing
I start
excuses?
going up, and I'm pulling her now by the leg, and then she kicks me, and I go flying off the side. So she did win. This is absolutely true, but that will be a further context as my fun fact. Yes, I did lose to Bella Burita in wrestling on Necker Island, and it went in the water first.
Yes, thank
That's
you.
a true fun.
Thank you.
So Bella, you first.
Let's kick this off with Dr. Helen.
So Dr. Helen, I had a little bit of fun making some introductions, beautiful energy here with growth-driven, heart-centered, integrous people committed to mastery. That's what Dr. Efka has assembled. I could feel it, I could hear it. And we fancy this as a true fact, There's incredible ways to help people in the world, but there's no greater way than the ability to cause yes. Heck, it's what causes the formation of every nation. It's what creates every business, every single thing, leadership, management, recruitment, fundraising, for profit, not for profit, marketing, selling, everything is on the other side of yes. But what does it look like when we live in a sophisticated world of 2025 and pitching, hooking, closing? Yuck. But what does it look like when heart-centered, integrous people come together to cause yes, that should actually happen? So that's what we're doing here with the thousands of people who've been on the show. It's 8,000 plus people now. And Bella, to illustrate this, will be anybody you'd like her to be. She could be an ideal patient or client. She could be a charitable fundraising partner, potentially, or somebody famous like Oprah Winfrey or Warren Buffett that you want to create a yes with to do some good in the world. So Dr. Helen Bell will be anybody you want her to be. It does not have to be a sale. It could be a setup meeting for 3 minutes, and it could just be a yes that you're seeking for a longer conversation. So please, Dr. Helen, who would you like Bella to be that you're going from hello to yes with?
Okay. So, sorry. I was like,
It's okay. Any
Yeah.
yes that would make sense for you. So
Yeah.
charitable, could be a patient yes, could be a management situation, whatever would be valuable for you to like, play with and work on. That's who Bella will be on the other side of. So any thoughts?
Okay, so Bella, you are going to be a psychiatrist, a late career psychiatrist, who has
I know Sean is crazy all the time. I think I can.
He does. He clearly diagnosed me as in deep need of psychiatric help. So this is perfect.
Yes.
And so she's a psychiatrist, and then Dr. Helen, any other facts that
Yeah, so has had a successful private practice, someone that I greatly respect. I'll call you Dr. Green. And I would like you to be my mentor in the field as well as building up my private practice.
Beautiful. Let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Hello, this is Dr. Green.
Hi, Dr. Green. It's very nice to meet you. My name is Helen Bellette. I'm a psychiatrist, and I focus on treatment-resistant mood and anxiety disorders, and in particular OCD. I know that your area of interest is OCD, and I was particularly, I really liked your last article on how Insight moderates treatment-resistant OCD treatment. And I wanted to know, I'm interested in building up a practice. But I know that in medicine, we don't have, a lot of the business background. You've been quite successful. And I wanted to know if I could maybe get 10 minutes of yours at some later point to discuss any ways in which you might be able to be a mentor to me.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dr. Helen. I really appreciate all that. And just why me and why are you looking to have my help? And and tell me where you want to grow your practice to.
So I'm interested in a mentorship by you because you have a successful practice on the West Coast, doing both therapy as well as medication management for patients with OCD. OCD is, personally something that is important to me, and I know from reading some of your books that it is personally important to you. And as a kind of mid-career psychiatrist, I would like to venture into private practice and continue that work. But I have concerns about kind of the business aspect, and I'm looking for some guidance with that. And I was hoping you could be that person.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely look forward to. I got to run right now, but let's definitely set up something to have a little bit longer of a conversation, see what it is that you're looking for and how I might be able to help.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
I have a test patient though I'm going to need you to see. And once you see that test patient and you can fix his problems, then we can see what we can do about growing your project.
Great idea. Who's that?
What's that?
I said, sounds like a great idea. Who's that?
You.
I knew it.
Yeah. Dr. Helen, thank you very much. We'll get back to that in a bit. Great job. Tell who's following.
I'm going to enlist another doctor because I don't know if one doctor is enough to help you. So we're going to now enlist Dr. Alley and see if Dr. Alley can help as well. So Dr. Alley, Dr. Evka has volunteered you for the participants spot. And so who would you like for me to be?
I guess my ideal client would be a residency program director that is heading a residency program that is dealing with a lot of residents struggling with depression, burnout. There's a lot of bullying going on in the program. They are at risk of losing their accreditation because of the residency struggles.
Great scenario, Dr. Alley. And Dr. Alley, would this be a residency program for any particular section of the medical field or just in general?
Just, it could be family medicine, it could be surgery, it could be any training program, pretty much, yes. So you are Dr. Patel.
So it could be ophthalmological, surgical, whatever you want to be.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd be surgeon. Can I cut you open?
Yeah, she could be a surgeon.
Perfect. I'll cut your spine out. Hello, this is Dr. Bella.
Hey, Dr. Bella, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. How are things going on in your program?
It's a little crazy right now. We've definitely ran into some challenges with team and growth and, patients and things like that. But, we are definitely making our way through.
Okay. So, have you ever, just in terms of experience, have you ever had a resident come to you, to your office and feeling overwhelmed, really anxious, or have you ever lost a really great resident because they could not cope with the stress of residency?
They always come in and they're expecting it to be stress-free and not to have any problems. They feel like it's Disneyland. No, not so much. But yes, that is not what it sounds like at all. Very stressed out, very overwhelmed. And we've had, unfortunately, people have had to leave the program.
How did that make you feel?
It always makes me sad, because obviously, I feel like they know coming in, residency is not, easy. It's definitely not Disneyland, right? And, but at the same time, that's how we kind of weed through, who's actually going to make it through the program and, be able to sustain the lifestyle. But it definitely, there's things that we could do to help them.
So one of the studies have shown that residency programs right now over the country, they're struggling with a high rate of residency burnout, depression. And one of the factors that has contributed a lot to this is depression and bullying. And so whenever there's a high rate of depression and burnout, bullying, what that leads to is poor patient outcomes. And eventually that leads to the program bringing out liability, right? Because they're losing residents, poor patient satisfaction. And so where I would come in is, that's what Physicians Keepers is, an organization I started. So this is for physicians by a physician, because most of the wellness and the so-called open door policies in residency programs are very generic, right? There's no structure to them. So with Physicians Keepers, what this is a structured program that comes in to intervene in these situations where residents are burnt out, there is bullying going on, and there's that fear of speaking up. And so creating a standard structured policy with it is going to help programs to make sure that they keep those residents that are, these are great residents, but because of the environment that they're being trained, they have a high chance of dropout. And so with this program, they would tend to flourish and thrive in the environment that they're supposed to. Is this something that you would like to talk over with, where I can look at your program, see what your specific needs are, and we can just sit down for coffee and I can give a free consultation to see how I can come in to help?
I definitely think, Dr. Ali, that would be a great idea, as I'm trying to move out of the sun and Sean wants to go stay in the sun. But Dr. Ali, I think, I think there's something that we could do with our residents, and would definitely look forward to having a longer conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your
But
time.
I personally experience a lot of bullying at work. Can you help me? Because my boss bullies me a lot. Oh, wait, you're back.
Unbelievable. Dr. Ali, Dr. Helen, you see how this works. Yes. So thank you. Really beautiful job. And please, let's get to the feedbackers.
What's the feedbackers, otherwise known as judges? Judges, this is the time in the show that we get to give back in the form of feedback. And so we're going to give 30 seconds to Dr. Helen or 30 seconds to Dr. Ali, something that they did great, something that they could do to improve. And then a little next step. Is that next step you'd rather go to the dentist and have a root canal than have a longer meeting with Dr. Ellen or Dr. Ali? I don't think that's going to be necessary today. But maybe that next step is, I'm thinking right now, a cup of ice cream versus a cup of coffee. But maybe it's a cup of coffee, little mocha chocolate at Starbucks, maybe with an ice cream floater for a little bit longer of a meeting. Affogato, they actually call that. But if that's not enough time, then maybe you'll be willing to rent a private room at the Capitol Grill, getting the seafood tower and the nice juicy steak to have a little bit longer of a meeting. But if that's not enough time, and Janice, Natty, Vita, and Dr. Evka, and you want the longest meeting possible with Dr. Allen or Dr. Ellie, you would rent a private jet, of course, stop and pick up Dr. Evka so you can fly anywhere in the world with Dr. Helen or Dr. Ali. Let's kick it off with Anne. Anne, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Dr. Helen?
Dr. Helen, I thought you did an incredible job in introducing yourself and the incredible work that you do. My only suggestion perhaps is to play to his ego a little bit more and kind of perhaps say, how much you admire him and that kind of thing a little bit more up front. But I thought you did an incredible job.
Awesome. And what would be your next step with Dr. Helen, Ann?
It would be to meet again and go on a yacht.
Oh, there we go.
And hanging out with the right crew.
Rocket, private jets, yachts, the whole thing. Beautiful.
That's it.
And, feedback.
I don't know if this is allowed in the format, so I'll just ask, is it possible to ask a follow-up question?
Not typically, but you know what? It's Dr. Evka's show, and we always break routine and pattern for that. We love Dr. Evka. So yes, what's the follow-up question?
So, I was thinking about that. To a certain, I was like, to a certain extent, people may feel like they're being fawned over. And is that something to consider or not consider? Like, how much do people think that should be how much admiration you express, that should be tempered or like be wholehearted?
So what I'm hearing is how much brown nosing until one is upset, annoyed, irritated, frustrated, and feel that it is non-integrous. Is that what I'm hearing?
Something like that.
Yeah. So the answer is very clearly, I don't mean it's obvious. I mean, this is something emphatically stated that is 100% situational. Human beings all have different communication models and patterns, understandings of the world. And that's why as we speak to groups of people, it becomes exponentially more complex to be in a space of group influence, also known as public speaking, or group leadership in any way, because people are hearing and perceiving things through all their different dialects and translations mechanisms of the exact same language. Every word means something different, every inflection, tone, pause, everything. So When we're one-on-one communication, it becomes extremely easy to perceive how somebody is or is not receiving our communication. Oprah Winfrey said she held a microphone for 30,000 people because she said, I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me. So the North Star I propose in this entire conversation is how we authentically see people, right? It's like, oh my God, you're so great, you're so amazing, is different than, hey, I really appreciate the extraordinary story of being picked up and flown across New Zealand by meeting somebody, the aspirational mechanism of it, really super cool. I was deeply moved. I was inspired by it. If it's authentic and correct, then I believe we share it and acknowledge it. So what I said about Dr. Evka, for example, her resiliency. I mean, the lady escaped from refugee camps to come to the nation, scrubbed floors, working with her mother, worked her way through school, did well, but not incredible on her SAT, works so hard, took it multiple times to get a 1600 SAT, works and sometimes is paid by chickens. It's just house call of taking care of people. One of the most inspiring, profoundly unique stories in healthcare, and even humanity, I've ever heard. That's an authentic acknowledgement, because I meant every word, versus, oh my God, Dr. Evka is just the coolest, most amazing person. Well, she's amazing. I don't think she's the coolest person I've ever met, so I'd be lying. I'd be sloppy with my words. How does that resonate as an answer?
I think that is spot on. Yes.
Yeah.
You're good at this.
Yes, I've done it a time or two. And
Yes.
and everybody, we have fun because the having fun opens the listening of most people. So if I'm in a one-on-one conversation with people, I'm going to have fun until I realize, well, I'm going to be perceiving them immediately. I'm going to a group of people tomorrow. They're all paying $250,000. I'm not saying pridefully, I'm saying it factually, to be in this group. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to be assessing every element of the group dynamics and individual micro distinctions. Oh, P.S., I'm blind. So I'm going to have help and support in analyzing who's who, what's what, how to communicate with these people, not how to manipulate them, not how to win them over to my way, but how do I connect with them in their world to authentically explore if more should begin to happen, which is essentially what we do in the show as well, right? And it's a different format. It's 60 minutes. It's been innovated 1,500 times to come to the way we do it. But the outcome is for all of us to help determine who's who, what's what, in the most efficient way you can in 60 minutes. Obviously, if we had like 8 hours together each individually, we create a much deeper, more profound connection. But for a 60-minute mechanism of meeting 6, 7, 8 people, I would submit with great humility. I've never seen a better format, and I've looked at everything. And that's how we created the show and innovated to it. But I completely agree that we do not want to fawn over people, which could suggest inauthenticity, but we want to be sharing with people what it's all about. And I do believe, for example, I recall every word I said today, growth-driven, heart-centered, integrous people committed to mastery. My hallucination is that it is a very apt description of the collective. It may not be fully applicable because I don't know people well enough, but I do know Dr. Evka. I know her heart and intention, and the outcome is a GHIC, a growth-driven, heart-centered, integrous person committed to mastery. That's a standard that we communicate about. So I'm presuming that to get all the way to be on the show and all be here together, that we would be at least predominantly in that frame. So it's a great question. I love that question. And anything else I could share or clarify on that point?
No. Yeah, that's typically how I try to respond. And yeah. And I think that's what's most important, trying to create a connection. And for me, overcoming the initial anxiety.
Yeah. Can I say some final? I know I'm going long because I love the question. I want to serve and support. It's a great question for everybody. No matter what we do, we are going to be false framed. I've had the privilege and blessing of speaking in front of 15,000 people at one time. I've spoken in front of groups of 3 people, 2 people at a time, right? I've had tens of thousands of one-on-one and group conversations in my life and studied this at the deepest levels. So you will be false framed. But the question is, do we care more about ourselves to avoid false framing by the other person? Oh, they just want something from me. Well, of course we want something from you. Everybody wants something. Maybe we want care. We want acknowledgement. We want to be seen. Maybe what we want from you is to feed you bread in the soup kitchen so we can feel closer to God, right? Everything we do has a fundamental dynamic of self-interest. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it. But what we say is integrity means are you seeking to add more value than you receive? So if you work in a soup kitchen and it's going to make you feel closer to God, the people in the soup kitchen receiving the charitable service of your time and your energy are receiving more. So when we say the word integrous, that's what we mean, that we're transparent in our intention and we seek to add more value than we take. And if we're doing all of those things despite our best efforts, we will be false framed. But if we love and care about giving more than avoiding false framing, then we will continue most optimally and authentically. It's not the same thing. Authenticity, yes, but authenticity is not necessarily optimal in and of itself. There's authenticity in the skill of how we open the listening of people, touch the hearts and minds of people, which is why everybody doesn't become, for example, an Oprah Winfrey or George Washington or an Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King. So I pause there. Thank you. Beautiful question. And Bill.
Yes, thank you for that beautiful question and serving the group. And let's go, Janice. Janice, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Dr. Allie?
For Dr. Allie. Dr. Allie, you did a really good job of expressing what it is that you were trying to find. You asked poignant questions. You were very helpful as far as going through your thought process and really honing in on what it is that you were trying to achieve. And I thought that you did a really good job. So, but there are so many things that could be piggybacked onto that. So from
So
what
would
we've
be
got,
the next step with Dr. Allie?
Yeah, would you have a cup of coffee? Or are you intrigued enough for a meal? Something longer, maybe a flight across New Zealand? What would be that next step?
well, I think a meal to start out with and then see where it goes.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's what you said. Let's
Yeah,
go.
that's what I said. Let's go, Natty. Natty, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Dr. Helen?
For Dr. Helen, I think she did a great job. She was nervous, so that was the only thing that I noticed, that if this would have been a real call, she probably would have had a little bit more information on the person. But other than that, no, she did great.
Awesome, Natty. And what would it be? A little cup of coffee, a meal, private
In her
jet.
case, we would start with a cup of coffee.
Let's go. A little caffeine flowing.
Little caffeine is flowing. Next, let's go. Vita, how about your 30 seconds of feedback for Dr. Allie, please?
Dr. Allie, I think that Dr. Allie did great, and I would like to spend more time with her to learn more, and for her to give me her professional assessment, because I do want to be better at what I do, always being better. And I would be open to suggestions. And I think that we can start over some coffee.
Over some coffee.
It's a little coffee, Vita. Thank you. Belle will have coffee. When do you have coffee again?
I will have coffee again on Saturday.
Yes, he's been the 21-day Daniel fast. Congratulations on that.
Yes.
And please.
Let's go. Dr. Evka, let's go also. How about your 30 seconds of feedback for Dr. Allie, since Sean gave Dr. Allen some feedback?
Okay, Dr. Allie, great job. You are incredibly passionate about what you do, and I know how incredibly hard it is to approach residency programs and ask to be able to help them, because I have my own language course and I'm reaching out to residency programs and it can be hard. And what you say matter. The physician suicide rate is crazy high, and you are just a beacon of hope for those who have been bullied. And yes, ask everybody. Love the questions.
Beautiful job, Dr. Evka. Your heart is always fully present. And just remember that, Dr. Evka, she likes to give me a hard time.
No,
I'm
Dr.
trusting
Evka
you.
gives you a hard time. She's the
You
one.
give me a
No,
hard
Dr.
time. Let's
Evka
go.
has a scenario for you already.
Oh my God. Or let's hear this.
All right, Dr. Evka, what are you making Sean do today? Because this is the time to show that we get to put Sean on the hot seat in a scenario that he has no idea about. And Dr. Evka usually cooks up the greatest scenarios. And while you're telling us a scenario, I'm going to switch seats to the other side to get out of the sun. But yeah,
Oh, Rita, come on.
it is hot.
Yes.
I'm in a black dress. But Dr. Evka, your 30 seconds of feedback, or not the feedback, but your scenario for Sean, please.
Thank you so much. And by the way, just love all you guys. And you all are focused on helping other people through their struggles, through death, through special needs, through all kinds of stuff. So my scenario is that you all get together, and Sean is a medical professional whose child has special needs, whose parents have dementia and are slowly dying, and who is getting bullied at work. So Sean is that. And you are going to try to convince Sean that we're all going to get together and we're going to help him with all our special ways, in all our different ways, to really make a difference in his life. But Sean has another idea. Sean's idea is that we go ahead and he's going to spend this time trying to convince everyone here to learn more about Unblinded and to take part in Dr. Evka's language program. So you're going to try to convince him that you're going to help him with all the things he really needs, but his mind's going to be too focused on these other things instead.
Amazing. Okay. And who would be the Dr. Evka, who would be the person that I would be communicating with directly?
Ooh, okay, so let us do, and I'm choosing Anne Ryan just because it's like crazy hours where she is in Australia. So Anne Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, so Anne will be Anne and I will be me. And then we'll speak into these topics as Dr. Evka has suggested. So thank you, Dr. Evka. So hi, is Anne available?
Yes, speaking.
And this is Sean Callaghy. We had a 3-minute conversation scheduled for today, although that's confusing because you're tomorrow. Yes, and I'm yesterday, something like that. So is it still a good time for you, whatever day we're on, to have this conversation in?
Yes, yes, it is.
Thank you. And I know how busy you are, and I know you do come from the future, I from the past, being here in the US. But what prompted you in the first place, Anne, to have this conversation, please?
Well, I was just curious to learn more, really. I've heard about you, and yeah, I'm open ears.
Thank you. And Anne, what is it that you'd like to hear more about from me? Like, what was the why behind it? What's there for you? Please. I'm very grateful for the time. I just don't want to waste yours, and I really want to serve you. So what was that? What was there for you, please?
Well, I can see you're an expert in your field, and I'm always looking to master and improve and evolve myself. And so I just wanted to hear what you had to offer.
Cool. Can I ask you one other quick question? And I'll keep this to our 3 minutes. Sure. What's the ultimate mission, vision, purpose for you, Anne? If you had all your way and could wave a magic wand and make it all appear, what would you have created looking back on that final day that would make your heart know that you fulfilled your life's purpose, please?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm actually responding as myself here rather than as the scenario, because I've kind of lost track of the scenario. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I guess I'm a very goal-driven person, and I have big dreams, big desires. I want to have a lot of impact on this planet. I want to leave a legacy. And I think it's just a feeling of I've done it.
So I'm hearing is massive impact as a force for good globally on the planet, and with a high quantity of individualized impact for people as well. Am I hearing you correctly, Anne?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so from that place, may I share a couple of quick things that may or may not resonate with you?
Please.
Okay. So, and 20 years ago, as I was on my way to becoming blind and desiring not to be broke and an alcoholic, like most blind people in my family, with my hereditary degenerative eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa, I had this massive urgency to just figure out how to create some financial stability so I could potentially be blessed with having a family and supporting them. And I, for the life of me, couldn't appreciate how to do that, even though I went to an Ivy League undergraduate school and I graduated law school with honors. I realized that lawyers actually don't make a lot of money. And it's a misnomer that they do. The median income today for lawyers is $127,000, which most places in the United States, when you factor in the delay of lawyers getting into the workforce and the debt they've accumulated, this is not an appealing financial prospect. And only 1% of attorneys make $500,000 a year. And what I've discovered is that money has relevance. It is not singularly outcome determinative of our destiny, but there's relevance, right? How much we can give in our time also has a lot to do with how much time we have to spend earning income. So if we can create mechanisms for supporting ourselves and then clearing our time, we can create exponential impact. This mechanism became the study of my life 20 years ago. And I would, with the greatest humility in the world, suggest that I have become one of the foremost authorities in producing outcomes for human beings walking the face of the earth. The diversity of applications of where I figured out how to create impact range from youth sports to creating massively successful companies approaching billion-dollar valuations for myself and for other people, breaking charitable fundraising records, causing joy, happiness, fun, magic, enjoyment, being incredibly time-free, being massively present with my children. And I was not genetically gifted with sight, like most people. I was not genetically gifted with unique intelligence. What I was genetically gifted with is a growth-driven, heart-centered approach to mastery. And for a lot of fine folks, and it stops at levels of inspiration, the quantum field, meditation, prayer. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in visualization imagery, but those things in and of themselves are left begging the question, to do what? For how to materialize impact. Do you write a blog? Do you write a book? Do you need the right agent? Is it your website, your SEO? Is it becoming some meditative monk in a cave or monkette? What is it? And these questions, Anne, I've answered, and we're at time. So if anything I'm sharing sounds at least somewhat fractionally unique, all I'm simply proposing is a 60-minute follow-up conversation where I would share how we even came together today through Dr. Evka, her brilliant, incredible work in the world, all these fine folks and things we could do for impact. And of course, realizing that I myself have suffered from extraordinary trauma throughout my life in many different ways, and how I've risen above much of it. And I also seek additional guidance myself from masterful people like yourself and the others that are here. So my simple proposal would be a 60-minute follow-up conversation for you and I, where we can explore complementary, the mechanisms for you to create that impact and to literally give you a formula. So it no longer feels mysterious, like the lottery, like something miraculous. When we impact tens of lives, thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands, and millions of lives, what that science and formula looks like in a footnote, what it especially looks like is coming together with other extraordinary people desiring to do the same thing, like the people here today. So, Anne, how would it resonate with you or not to have a 60-minute follow-up conversation to demystify, to support in the unblinding of this vision that you have? Please, Anne.
Absolutely, I'd love that.
Well, yeah, thank you, and I appreciate that. Anne, out of role, thank you for that. And really appreciate you and the energy today, Anne, Dr. Evka, everyone, was really higher vibrational. It felt like heart. It felt like possibility. It felt like something that was up there, out there somewhere. As Martin Luther King in this month of Black History, they've discussed the possibilities of things. So from that place, Anne, we thank you for your time. Thank you for stepping into that role play. And how was your time today, Anne? Well, how'd I do? How was your time today on Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence?
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. You did great. Of course you did. I feel really privileged to be here. My dad was blind. He just passed 4 weeks ago, and he was also a psychiatrist. So I'm sort of, there are so many little things that have come up in the conversations today that have really touched my heart. And thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate that very, very much, Anne. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your dad, but it sounds like he had a profound impact on your life. If I'm hearing that correctly, and my heart goes out, and we are very grateful for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go, Dr. Helen. Never easy to be in that participant seat leading us off, and you did a masterful job. And thank you for that. And how was your time today, Dr. Helen, on Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence?
I am very grateful to have been able to participate today. I feel like it was an endorphin boost. And being able to connect to people is very meaningful. To me, to I would say most people, this I'm grateful. I'm grateful. It's beautiful.
Tears welling, somehow, heart touched, and thank you, Dr. Helen. Thank you. Vida, thank you for being here today. Thank you for being the feedbacker seat, and beautiful job of feedback. Loved and appreciated your energy as well. And Vida, how was your time today on Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence?
My time today was invigorating because it's got my mind going, thinking about things that I can do. And I would just love to spend whatever time you have available that we can expound on this more. Because I'm like a sponge. I want to soak up all knowledge that I can to make sure that I can be a better impact, not only to my family, but to my community, my city, my state, and my country.
Dr. Evka, tears are coming to my eyes, and something has broken through today in a beautiful, powerful way. And thank you, and beautiful job, Dr. Evka. And Vida, I sat on this porch $14 years ago in 2 months, April of 2011, with a man who said he was going to hang himself with jumper cables because his business had been stolen from him. And it was on the other side of this patio at the Phoenician here in Arizona. I didn't want to take the case. I didn't want to get involved. I was very, very happy with where my life was economically, time freedom, where I was serving my children as their baseball coach, blind, soccer coach, my daughter is blind. And that led to an odyssey of 6 years of my life, sleeping in this state for close to 500 nights of my life in total. It led to Arizona's largest jury verdict in about eight and a half year period. And it was an impossible situation. I paused. Tomorrow I will be with Tony Robbins, and Tony, like him or not, I think is one of the most misunderstood, most masterful people. If you're not clear on some of the research and studies that Stanford has done on the impact of Tony's work, Stanford had demonstrated that his impact on people's mental health is profoundly disproportionate to traditional mechanisms of counseling and support. I'm not belittling anybody here. I'm not a fan of Tony. I'm not a sycophant. And I don't work with him, and I have no business relationship directly. But he's impacted my life in extraordinary ways by teaching me the power of true mastery and the elements of possibility for people. Even when you study with the masters of masters, there's always holes, there's always challenges, there's always more to learn, whether it's Dr. Evka in Taekwondo or it's building a platform for impact of humanity. And the study of my life, Vida, is closing those gaps and studying every master to figure out what does Abraham Lincoln have to do with Nelson Mandela, who has to do with Oprah Winfrey, that has to do with Mark Zuckerberg. Whether they're fully integrous or not, these are masterful humans who create disproportionate outcomes. So that's the study of the work. There's other things, Vida, we have to offer for you as our gifts because of Dr. Evka to provide more liquid to your sponge. And so, Vida, thank you for being here today. I know we're running late, Belle, and I just deeply touched. And please, any other fine folks that are here.
Yes, well, we'll go with Miss Nettie, so she's sitting there with Vida. Nettie, how was your time with us on Dr. Evka's Heart of Influence?
It was a very great learning experience. It was great to meet so many different people, but with the same goal in common. So I'm looking forward to learning more.
Thank you, Nettie.
Thank you,
Oh.
Nettie. And let's go to the woman. Let's go, Janice. Janice, thank you for being here. And how was your time with us on the Heart of Influence?
Well, I wanted to say again, thank you so much for having me. This is not something that I have participated in the past, so it was a really interesting way to share information and to be able to learn from others as far as we are all in a heart-centered space, and finding more of those people in our life, in our tribe, to expand our abilities to connect has been invaluable, and I appreciate this so much.
Janice, thank you. And if I may offer this, because Tony Robbins did actually say that he's never met anybody that lives in more heart and integrity than me, and he's coached 4 presidents. He works with 60 billionaires to provide 60 billion meals for people. I know I've spoken a lot about Tony. I work with Yale and Harvard Law School graduates, teach lawyers across the country, work in Disney, T-Mobile, Salesforce, have done some of the most highly acclaimed diversity, equity, inclusion conversations. So I have a diversity of applications and experiences, and I share this critically importantly because I don't think I would be serving you if I didn't share this, Janice and everyone, that sometimes heart-centered people, right, permit people to overlook them, to squash them, to bully them. The words have been present here. And part of my life's work, like Dr. Evka learning Taekwondo, is how we as heart-centered humans can bring our work forward to protect the rights and interests of people, not just in legality and leadership on the planet, to bring forward best of the vibration. So I invite everybody to consider that while the heart is critical, sometimes we need the lightning bolt to create disruption, to create boundaries for integrous acceleration. Malcolm X's work was the lightning bolt to Martin Luther King's dream. And the balance of those elements of disruption for the opening of listening, the restoration of boundary to move forward in the heart has been an invaluable component of understanding leadership, speaking, and accelerating. So, Janice, thank you for your heart. And we have some things to round out that and some of our gifts.
And now I'm going to go to Dr. Ali, but I did want to acknowledge Deborah that just joined us. We're just finishing the Heart of Influence, but thank you for yes, just warm welcome, and maybe connect with Dr. Evka to come on another show. But let's go, Dr. Ali. Thank you for jumping into the participant seats. How was your time with us on the Heart of Influence?
It was awesome. This was something that when I woke up this morning, I had this sinking pit in my stomach. I'm like, oh, and I had the usual before you start a meet with new people, run to the bathroom deal. But I knew I had to get out of my comfort zone. So I was really glad that I did that. And just being in the room with such amazing people and just hearing, like he said, the heart behind what they do. and just bringing it together. That the heart is fun, which is great, but then there has to be something that clicks for for it to actually expand into a vision, so it doesn't just stay in there, but then people can actually benefit from what it is that you feel inside and actually create great impact. So just being in the room with you all and just hearing from just such amazing folks has been tremendously inspiring. Makes me feel less alone. And so I'm really glad that I did this today.
Amen. And Dr. Ali and everyone, this property was once a desert. And some groups of humans decided to come together to take their heart and their vision and build all of this. And when I see or experience places like this, what I think about is how many arguments, fights, battles, stress, strife, lawsuits, contracts, negotiations, discussions went on amongst thousands of humans to build this and to operate this on a daily basis. And we say that's where the heart meets the math. Math without heart is meaningless. And we're living in 1984, George Orwell's incredible dystopian tale. And the heart without the math, and we're living in nothing that could ever be created except a fantasy. So it's the heart and the math. And we appreciate your acknowledgement of that, Dr. Ali, and your presence here today. So thank you. Okay. Dr. Evka, extraordinary job. How are you feeling? And your final, please.
So I learned Taekwondo and I'm feeling so endorphin high, and I feel like we should all meet afterwards and you should take advantage of some of the stuff that Unblinded has to offer. It's free. It's amazing. And I don't know what I'm doing with my Taekwondo skills now.
You can absolutely feel free to kick me anytime and punch me anytime, Doctor. Take out any frustration, energy. We love you, appreciate you, and for everyone, please connect with each other. That's why Dr. Evka did this and provided enormous value. And connect with Dr. Evka. She's got a huge mission and a huge purpose in her heart. And this is a heart-driven human being who people should want to work with and want to do things with. So thank you for that, Dr. Evka. And gifts really quickly, because I'm super late. I'm always late because I always love people and want to just keep giving, but I'm super late and we're going to like 11 o'clock tonight and have a convention and a thing we're hosting and all kinds of things to get to. And I'm unshaven. I am pool covered with my hat and my pool attire as we're doing this. And we got to get rocking here really quickly. But we have our group influence book that talks about all of these things. That's there for you in the chat. And we have an acceleration session with people on our team at Unblinded. Take that session. If anything here resonated with you, do we have things for you to invest in? Yes, we do. Of course we do. As you do. You don't have to do anything, but there will be immense value just from the session and the book itself. And if you want another non-investment piece, March 5th, you want more and you want to understand a broader dynamic of what's happening here, that day will be there. We do have a live event on March 13th and the 16th. You can ask about those things as well. If any of this resonates with you, there's plenty more to do. There's definitely things that are incredibly impactful that require no monetary investment. There's things that take a much deeper dive. You can explore all those things or none of those things. We're super grateful for your presence. Bella, anything you want to share? Quick final?
No, I think you covered it.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you. We end every show by saying this. I may be physically blind, which I am, but I'm absolutely certain as to the possibilities for acceleration that so often sit right in front of our face, right here in front of our eyes. But the challenge is for all of us, Bella, Dr. Evka, we are all blind.
And just learning to see. Bye-bye, everyone.
Great job, Dr. Evka.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And check it out for emails. And please also use some of the Unblinded stuff. It's amazing.
Okay.